Super impressive.
All right, let's go.
Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to go through the characters, character classes that you can going to be playing in early access. And while we're doing that, we're going to explain the different ways that you have to develop your character. Now, as I said before, I like to keep things pretty casual. This isn't some kind of hyper-polished presentation. And Octavian's playing is going to be using cheats and so on, so you know you might have to die and revive, but hopefully it goes okay. So we're going to start off with the monk. So the monk is a fast melee fighter. He cares a lot about momentum in combat. Now he does a lot of damage, but he isn't necessarily that strong physically in terms of defenses. So you're going to want to stay back and you know, go into and out of combat very quickly. Now, like all classes, the monk was going to want to mix and match a few different combos. And one of the things we really like to do with our skills is make sure that we've got a lot of things that can take advantage of different situations.
Squishy, but
in this particular case, Octavian is freezing monsters with this wave of frost, and then he's using Glacial Cascade to kill them if he hits the thing. If the end of the Glacial Cascade hits the monster and it's frozen, then it will do a AoE damage and you know, do a lot of damage.
I'm going to keep the volume like this.
Now, the monk also has a lot of combo skills. An example, so if you hit monsters using regular attacks, then you'll charge those skills up. An example of this is Tempest Bell. So here we're going to create a bell, and then if you hit the bell, it'll do damage around it. You can also add status ailments to the bell. So for example, you could freeze it like he was doing there, which
the monk combat looks really fun.
Or do you know, shock it and this kind of thing. So that's
there's like a multi-button build,
of the kind of skills you can expect on the monk. But
there
how
will
do you
still be one-button builds apparently.
Well, the answer to that is skill gems. So the way that you get skill gems are items that you can find in the world, and if you right-click on one, you can choose what skill you want to get. Now, we're trying to keep the skill system feeling as much as possible simple for new players. There's two things you can do here. You can either level up an existing skill or you can pick a new one, and that kind of interface is quite familiar. We have added things like tutorial videos for every skill.
Frozen locusts will explode when
holy shit, look at that. So whenever you mouse over any of the skills, you'll get to listen to one of the devs telling you about the skill.
attacked by you or your enemies.
But effectively, we just want to make sure we're keeping this simple as possible. Now, what you do once you've got a skill gem is put it into your skill screen, and once you've done that, you can bind it and use it. This particular skill is called Frozen Locust that creates a little ice ball there, and then you can detonate that with your Glacial Cascade if you want, since it counts as a frozen object. Or the monsters can attack it and explode it that way, or you could use it in front of a boss who's about to slam and explode it that way. So that's a sort of basic rundown on how you get skills, but it's worth mentioning that you can also use skills across other classes as well. So what we saw there, I feel like monks is going to be somewhat squishy. If we open up the screen again, you can see that the skills for the other classes are still available. If you have the stats to use them, you can use them just as well. And then there's lots of different interesting combinations you can use across classes too. So that's just a quick rundown on what you can expect for the monk. Now we're going to move on to the sorceress. So the sorceress is our primary elemental spellcaster.
She's going to show a lot of them.
Mostly from range. She has
the loading screens, everything looks so nice. I can't wait,
guys. The area
we're
entering here is in Act 3 called the Forge. This is an area like an ancient Val forge where they were making various
lighting effect,
forging various gold things. So she's using a combination of lightning and fire here. Once again, there's lots of interesting combos that we want to do.
One of the things that I'd really like
to kind of show you to get a taste for one of the other character development areas we have in PoE 2 is support gems. So support gems are, in PoE 2, you get them by finding an uncut support. And when you open this by default, what you're going to see is just a few recommendations. If you go through the different skills that you have on the left, there's different recommended skill gems for each skill that you have. So what we're trying to do is just make sure that for new players, it's very easy for them to pick something that's just going to work. In this case, what we might do for Spark is pick Pierce. The reason why that's good is because Spark is a skill that creates a lot of projectiles that run around the ground.
Whoa. Hold on.
Is pick Pierce.
Projectiles from supported skills pierce an enemy. Projectiles from supported skills deal 30% less damage if they're feared. Okay, so this is exactly the same kind of how it is now.
The reason why that's good is because Spark is a skill that creates a lot of projectiles that run around the ground and then bounce off walls. If we're able to pierce through monsters, it means that they can bounce off a wall and potentially hit a monster again. So that can make it a lot more powerful when you are filling up areas with things like that. We're going to try and relight up the forge here
what level
to
is
be able
this?
to get to the boss. So that's what
Character.
Octavian's doing here.
Dope.
So one of the other things that we might want to pick
Dude,
is
that looks so
multiple
good.
projectiles for one of our skills. So, for example, we've got Fireball. If you fire it without multiple
Coming
projectiles,
soon.
you get a single Fireball that explodes. Throw multiple projectiles on there, and you know, obviously it does what you might expect. You get multiple Fireballs. So,
So these are
one of the things that's important is that you can actually move these skill gems, support gems around between skills. For example, we took the multiple projectiles and instead we put it on, I don't know, this ice.
I like how it shows the DPS over here. That's nice. But what I wonder though, because this is a level 14 spark, what determines when you can use a 4, 5, or 6 link?
I think you've got a nice skill somewhere. Frostbolt, then you'd be able to
Is that level based?
make that into multiple projectiles instead. So effectively, this is the way another area of character progression that you can use.
Or do you unlock it?
Improve your characters in PoE. So you want to? I think there was another one as well. Actually, yeah, Firewall. Let's try Firewall. So Firewall is a skill that allows you to create a wall of fire. If you fire projectiles through that, it's going to add fire to the lightning projectiles that we fire through. So that is quite a nice
what's up, Dimitri?
as well. But if we want, there's another skill, a support gem I think is quite interesting called Fortress. If you throw that on any skill,
this is from
wall,
LA.
Was that the one? Yep. Then when you cast it, it's going to make a circle, which you can either put around you or around the monster. So that means you can cast that and then fire in all directions afterwards. So you know, it can add a little bit of power. It might be a little bit easier in this area as well when you've got tight quarters.
We just started. There's a lot of the, you know, familiar things.
All
like,
right. Now the next thing we're going to show is the warrior.
What we just saw. Ooh, warrior
So
time.
the warrior
Here we
is
go.
our kind of big tanky melee class.
Yes.
Unlike the monk, he's
Level
a lot
54
slower, but he hits
Titan.
a lot harder. He's just going to change to WASD, which works a bit better on this class. Right, so here's the warrior. Now, at the moment, he's using a two-hand weapon, so he's going to be hitting very slow, but very hard.
I mean, I like the very hard part. Very slow, however, not so much.
Which is that if you switch to a shield and
I don't think it forces you.
Item,
some people have
then,
preference,
you've also got
right?
active block. So this is something that actually comes in handy. It's not so useful for just regular trash monsters unless they've got some special ability, but it can be quite nice against bosses. So let's have a quick look at that. So this is a big boss here, and the thing with bosses, they have large telegraphed attacks. So if you use active block here, you can use that to avoid all damage from the front, which is quite nice. Now there are attacks that have a little red flash that you can't block, but for the most part you can.
I need more time.
Let's see if we can see the red flash. But he's constantly flashing red. Hey, this gameplay looks awesome though. I'm not sure how I feel about shield. But I mean shield OP though. I mean block is OP in PoE 1, so block will be OP in PoE 2. Block will work a little different though. There's like some stamina bar. Dude, me too. Me too.
Now, one of the key areas that
I
we
can't
haven't
wait,
talked about
guys.
yet in Path of Exile in terms of character
It's
customization
6.
is, of course, the passive
Where do you get
tree.
the 12th from,
So
bro?
Path of Exile is really well
It's
known
6th.
for having a giant passive tree. There's 1,500 nodes in the passive tree.
1,500
and all the
nodes.
classes use the same tree. However, they start on different locations. So the warrior, for
Whoa, whoa, whoa. What did he just mouse over?
start on different locations.
Ooh, he did a mouse over a lot of them. Hold on. Enhance, guys.
So Path...
Hold on. This is more my kind of speed. Crushing impacts. Your hits are crushing blows. Requirements not met. That's that one. Crushing impact. Your hits are crushing blows. Like literally every single one. Hey, Kata. Hope you're well. All right, let me see what else he has to show. I look like an absolute baby right now. Hold on a minute. All right, so. Okay, that was just an armor thing. He's about to go down, and then he'll go over like 3 or 4 of them. All right. Armor, stone scan armor from equipped body armor is doubled. Dude, I missed one again. Like, can I? Oh, God, why can I not go back like a second? Come on, bro. Oh. Area of slam effect. Dude, there's so many of them there. Oh, wait, you can do that? Oh, shit. Okay, Ancestral Empowerment. Every second slam skill you use yourself is ancestrally boosted. Yeah, I'm not going to look at tweets. I'm going to look at them this way. I'm using the video. Thank you. All right, let me put it back on normal.
Starts on the bottom left side here, and because of the fact he starts there, he gets access to a lot.
Hold on. What did he do just now? Come on. Yeah, there's a lot I haven't seen yet either. And today I'm going to go over it. Guys, I'm going to look at all the information today from the video. I'm not going to look at people their tweets. Not what
Because
we're
of the
doing.
fact he starts there, he gets access to a lot more of the melee focused
But
elements.
this is
on the
very
tree.
much around
Now, to
stun
quickly
based.
explain how the
Titan
passive
seems
tree
to be
works, there are a few
heavily
different types
based
of
around
nodes here.
stun.
The smallest nodes are just like minor nodes.
8% increased melee damage. All right, so this is
And they'll
the
give very
basic
simple
stuff.
increases, like for example, you've just got melee damage here and that kind of thing. But the thing you're probably going to want to go for are called notables. Notables are the very slightly larger nodes, and they have much
20% more damage against heavy stunned enemies with maces.
more interesting effects.
Yeah, see, a lot of
They're often going to
stun.
depend a little bit on what kind of build you're doing.
I wonder
For
what kind
example,
of
this one
stun
here is
locking we get to
20% more
do.
damage against heavy stunned enemies with maces. This is something you're obviously only going to care about if you're heavy stunning enemies a lot, and of course using maces. So a lot these notables are the things that are really going to define your character, and the list of notables is really when it comes to
There's
making
so
build
many
guides and
notables,
things,
man. Look
this
at
is
it.
what really
I
matters.
feel like there's even more
and here we too have
notables
really tried
now.
to push the fact that notables are a lot more interesting, so there's a lot more stuff going on with them. But as well as notables, there's also other big nodes on the tree called keystones. And keystones are unique because they have both
They're
upsides
huge
and
ones.
downsides. So an example of one right here is called
Giant's Blood. Okay, we know
Giant's
this one.
Blood. It says you can
We
wield
know this one.
two-hand axes, maces, and swords in one hand, but you get double attribute requirements of weapons. So effectively, if you want to use
Yeah,
a
I can't
giant
wait for
two-hand sword, but you
POV2,
still want to use
guys.
a shield, you've got a way to do that.
Ah,
you just
I
have to
need
meet the attribute
POV2.
requirements to do it, which could be tricky for in-game bases. There's also other keystones, a few examples from other classes. There's one here that is, from PoE 1.
Maximum life becomes one,
becomes 1, but
immune
you're
to
immune to
chaos
chaos
damage.
damage. Since chaos damage does
Low
double
life.
damage to energy shield, this is something that you might want to use. Once you've got that, you don't have to worry about chaos damage anymore. You just need to build for energy shield and not life. Or another example of one that's been modified from PoE 1 is Mind Over Matter.
Mind Over Matter.
All damage is taken from mana before life, but you have 50% less mana recovery rate. If you're going to build for this, it means you don't have to worry about life once again, but you will have to build a huge amount of mana pool in order to sustain that. So these are the kind of things that you can pick from
a lot of the
keystones
same.
that, as
Nice.
upsides and downsides
Good.
and interesting trade-offs. Now, there is one other mechanic as well that I want to quickly talk about. So if you go back to the character and just have a look, Octavian was manually switching between, if you go back to the character and see, so Octavian was manually switching between one-hand and two-handed weapon sets. He was just pushing X to do that. When he's using both sets, there are things on the passive tree that you might want to be able to use
Dude, this is so
for one
cool.
or the other. So another unique feature for PoE 2 on the passive tree is the ability to split passives in two in order to allocate one for one set and another set for the other. So if we allocate ones in red here, these passives will only be used when you've got a two-hand weapon. And if you allocate passives in green using the other one here, these passives will only be allocated when you're holding the other weapon set, when he's using his one-hand weapon. So
I wonder how many of these we're going to get. And if they're optional. Like, can you choose to not put anything in a different kind of weapon? Or will you always have these optional things? Like, are they special passive points? But it's fucking awesome though. But I have never really weapon swapped ever. I've never weapon swapped.
So
Like the only thing I really use a weapon
switch
for
from one set to the other.
level
So
gems.
that means that
Yeah, I
he
mean,
can
that's not a thing
effectively
anymore.
dynamically adjust his passives based on what weapon sets he wants to use. But the other thing as well is in order to make it a lot easier for you to be able to use different passives.
But maybe weapon swapping is going to be a big thing.
Different weapons for different skills. We also have the ability to pick for a given skill which weapon set you want to use it with. So for example, the Stampede skill here, if you've got a shield, then when you use
They did say you can choose one set or two in the big reveal the other day. Okay. I see. Interesting.
the skill, it will be blocking the entire time if you just demonstrate that quickly. So if you use a Stampede, because you hold your shield in front of you, you're blocking the entire time you're charging. And using the one-hand weapon will also be a lot faster because it's got higher attack speed. So that's something we'd much rather use with our one-hand weapon. But when, for example, we're doing our Earthquake or our Double Slam, this is something that we probably only want to use with our two-hand weapon because we want to do the most damage.
By the way, let's look at this. First slam, second slam. Attacks per second. 0.5. Ugh.
So that means we can turn it off with the other weapon set. And now when you use your two-hand, now when you use that, it'll switch to your two-hand weapon automatically. So effectively, this allows you to have multiple weapon sets and do a lot of different things. It's also very good for, for example, on the Sorceress earlier, she was using lightning.
I'm definitely
fire.
starting Warrior, guys.
She can have two different staffs, one that's geared for one that's geared for
we'll
the other,
see.
as well as spec a passive tree out as well. So that's another character development feature that we have in PoE 2.
It better be.
Next up, we want to talk about the Ranger. So the Ranger is our primary bow cast, bow user, and she's all about range and mobility. So one of the first things we did when we were developing the Ranger is we wanted to make sure that everything you do can be done while moving. So this just makes the game feel a lot more fluid.
Sure.
So she's just a lot more mobile even from that. But she also has a lot of vaulting skills that allow her to jump up. For example, there's one there that freezes monsters. She jumps up and she can jump over monsters and freeze them. So this kind of thing allows you to, as I said, feel a lot more mobile in combat. Make sure you can get away from the monsters, which you need to do since, she isn't necessarily the most tanky character. Now, one of the things you might have noticed
Ranger looks insane, though.
is the bottom left of the screen there, there's only 2 flasks, just a life and a mana flask. We've actually changed how the flask system works in PoE 2 very recently. Now you get 1 life and 1 mana flask, and that's all. And the reason we actually did that is we found that there was a problem in PoE 1 called Flask Piano, where everyone was just sitting there pressing 1, 2, 3, 5 constantly, flasking.
Yep.
The thing is, so we've actually buffed flasks significantly so that each flask has a lot more charges, but you only get 1 of each type. Now, one of the main things that people were doing in PoE 1 when they were using flasks is they had they were using the other flask slots for mostly things that were making them resistant to various element types and so on.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to have a system to allow that to still be the case and still have interesting character customization there. So we've added a new type of item called Charms. Charms charge up using flask charges, so as you kill monsters, but they automatically trigger in order to grant you immunity to certain things at the point when you get those.
Dude, but that is so cool, man. Used when you become ignited. Yo, what's up, Lord Kinky? How you doing today? I think this is dope. But I wonder how many different ailments there are going to be. Yo, what's up, Bottega? Yeah, I love this. Used when you become ignited. Grants immunity to ignite. And it lasts 3 seconds. You can have increased duration, increased charge gains.
Things. So for example here, this is used when you
and
become
this is a blue
ignited,
one.
And then
there'll probably be yellow ones as well.
So if you're having trouble with fire damage, then you can throw that on there. If you get ignited, it'll automatically quench you. And then it will charge up again from killing monsters. Now there are lots of different charms that have different abilities. They trigger on different things. They get you. They make you resistant to different things. And they can also get mods, from crafting and so on. So you can make them an interesting part of your build. But the point is, they're always automatic. You don't have to manually trigger them. So it kind of solves that problem of having to manually use flasks constantly. You get the ability to use more charms by getting higher level belts. This is relatively lower level, so you've only got 1 charm slot there. As you get higher level belts, you get more slots up to 3.
Nice.
And there might even be some uniques that lead to more charms later on as well, of course.
Up
Now,
to 3
one of the other
slots,
things
guys.
that we wanted to upgrade as well is that we found, so in PoE 2, there's a huge amount of encounters and bosses. There are actually 50 bosses in early access. There's going to be 100 in the
50.
final game. So one of the things we've changed is we've upgraded the map to actually allow you to see all of those on the map. So if you zoom
The
in a
map
little bit
looks
there,
so cool.
you can see that there's a bunch of
Look at that. Boss. Loot. Do we see more things? A town.
bosses and random encounters around the area.
Dude, that's so
Near to
cool.
where Octavian is right now, you can see that there's a boss called Silver Black Fist, and that means that in this area there's something to find, a boss to encounter. So yeah, as I said, the bosses often have things that you can use to increase your character power as well. So it's important to kill them.
But look at this ranger, man, just fucking hugging the boss, walking around him. Hitbox porn. What the fuck? Yeah, Atlas is infinite. More about that later. Dude, those hits are... But I guess as a warrior, I can just block these giant fucking swings.
Forgive me, great creature.
So as you can see, he dropped a book of specialization there, and this is one of the items that allows you to do the split passive points in the passive tree, but it also gives you more passive points as well. So it's something that you're going to definitely want to find. Now there are other bosses around the game that have different bonuses and so on, so it's definitely a good idea to explore all the encounters throughout the game and find all of those things.
Cool.
So next we're going to talk about the Witch. And while we're
Wait,
showing
hold
the
on. 1 second. Grants 2 weapon set passive skill points. All right.
So it's something that you're going to definitely want to.
Yeah. So about the shaving, I don't know, it was draining me mentally. It was so itchy. I couldn't stand it anymore. I'm sorry.
Find. Now there are other bosses around the game that have different bonuses and so on, so it's definitely a good idea to explore all the encounters throughout the game and find all of those things. So next we're going to talk about the Witch.
The Witch.
And while we're showing the Witch, it's also a good time to talk about one of the other
Story
character progression
Witch.
systems in Path of Exile 2, which is Spirit. So the Witch is a primary summoner, but she also has a range of other supporting skills. But the thing we want to show you first is just the fact that she often, and in fact all the classes, use a resource called Spirit. So there's a new type of skill gem, an Uncut Spirit gem, which you can use here, and that'll give you a bunch of these, another skill screen with a bunch more abilities. What these ones are is for giving...
All right, so Grim Feast. It reserves 30 spirits. Level 22 skill, 50 int. Feeds on corpses to bolster your energy shield, while active enemies and minions that die in your presence will drop a Grim Remnant. Picking up a Grim Remnant grants you the energy shield, and you can overflow your energy shield up to double its normal maximum. Oh. Wow. So if you have 2k energy shield and you actively pick that shit up, you'll have 4k energy shield. Grim Remnants recover 24 energy shields.
Giving you things that are kind of somewhere halfway between a passive bonus and an active one. This one here called Grim Feast feeds on corpses to bolster your energy shield. But we've got lots of these for all classes. All classes can use them. For example, on Sorceress, here you've got Arctic Armor. There's one here called Raging Spirits, which means that every time you use a fire skill, it summons a Raging Spirit.
What did Arctic
There's one
Armor
here
do?
called Raging Spirits, which...
Hey, calm down.
Can use them. For example, on Sorceress, here you've got Arctic Armor. There's one here called...
Arctic Armor, so... 3 stages. Oh, Arctic Armor is a bit different. And because we have it now as well, let's see. Where is it? Arctic Armor. So this one does, we take less physical, less fire damage taken. while stationary. And grants immunity to freeze and all that stuff. And here, oh, that's the wrong one. Conjures an ice barrier that gains stages over time. While the barrier has stages, melee attacks that hit you will remove a stage to cause a burst of the ice that deals cold spell damage. Okay, so it's like more like molten shell, kind of, I guess. But it's more like a damage thing.
Called Raging Spirits, which means that every time you use a fire skill, it summons a Raging Spirit. So you can, like, as I said, it's somewhere between like an active and a passive. But for
I'm going to play Warrior
characters in particular,
first,
they're going to want to
we'll
get
see.
a lot of Spirit.
I want to play everything,
are
to
paid
be honest.
For, with the same resource. So what we're going to do here is, in order to use Spirit, effectively what you do is you go to the skill screen, and if you've got minions there, you can just click the little plus button, get some extra minions, and there you go. Now, these are permanent minions, which means that if they die, they're going to respawn again automatically. You don't have to spawn them constantly. And that means that it's during boss fights and things like that. It makes it a lot easier. You don't have to worry about having to have corpses every time, that kind of thing. But we also do want to support large minion armies.
I want to play Monk too. It's probably the second for me.
That you can summon from corpses as well. So all these little scorpions here, those are summoned from corpses. While you're clearing, you'll get large armies. During boss fights, it'll be a little bit more focused using the minions, your permanent minions for the most part. Now, he's also got some other supporting skills, a lot of things focusing on chaos damage. So he's got a skill called Contagion that'll spread between monsters and other things like
chaos damage. Always good.
Like just a few other chaos damaging skills.
I wonder if there's a way to make a chaos
all
warrior.
The minions come with extra abilities that you can trigger manually. So you see those little markers on your minions. You can use those to explode your minions. So that's the Arsonists. It's their ability. They'll throw a little bomb and explode your minion. And
this is what
there's
Gazzy
also
is
other
be
ones.
playing.
For example, the snipers have the ability to create little gas clouds. And the more minions you have, the more often you can use those abilities. So effectively, it means that each minion also effectively serves as an extra skill as well as being a meat shield for you as well. That's a quick introduction to the witch. But now we're going to show off the mercenary. Oh, actually, wait, no, we did miss something. Sorry about that. Right, so just one other quick thing I wanted to show you as well is that the witch has a lot of other summoning options, even beyond just the ones that we've picked, because she also has...
hey! Did you see that just now? He stopped here. He logged out. He logged back in. No, he does not appear in a town.
Right, so just one other quick thing I wanted to show you as well is that
he's at the
witch
same
has a lot of other
spot.
summoning options.
Look. He's here again.
Even beyond just the ones that we've picked, because she also has things called specters. So basically, anytime you kill a monster on the ground, it can be turned into a specter. We've actually created one here from Act 1 called a Cultist Archer. They cost quite a bit of spirit, so we're going to unsummon a couple of the Arsonists and put this Cultist Archer in. Now, the nice thing is that because lots of monsters in Path of Exile have different interesting abilities, all those abilities can be used by the summoner as well. So this one has the ability to summon these like purple polyp things that both slow monsters and add weakness to chaos damage as well. She's...
Yeah, I'm so happy they removed the logout macro stuff. Dude, that's hilarious. Oh my god. If you log out at a boss, you will log in at the boss. That's great.
Hopefully, yeah, she's using it there with those little things that exploded there. Because those are going to make monsters weaker to chaos damage, it'll be a very good part of this build.
That is so
it's
rough.
not as many minions, but the nice thing is that it'll actually end up being more DPS, and I think
this game is going to be so rippy.
Better for this build than not. That's what these little polyp things are.
Probably.
All right,
we'll see.
So moving on, let's have a quick look at the Mercenary. So the Mercenary is another ranged character, but this time using crossbows. Now, the main difference between a crossbow and a bow is that crossbows fire instantly, and they also have an ammo mechanic where effectively, you fire until your clip is empty, and then you have to reload. So it plays a lot more like an FPS. And we've got lots of type of FPS type weapons as well. I just changed to WSD here because this character plays a lot better in that way. So if you've got like a shotgun type weapon, you've got a assault rifle type weapon.
Yeah, I've been playing Path of Exile 1. I love it.
Find some monsters.
In the meantime.
And various other types. You've also got
kills the time,
launchers, and things like sniper rifle type weapons and so on. Now, this plays very differently to the other classes, but I think it's really fun. It's just like a whole different sort of feeling of the game.
Nah, melee is going to be good. 100%.
This particular area is called Doyani's Sanctum. He's doing a lot of experiments on humans, and is very interested in anatomy and kind of merging them with machines. There's a pretty interesting chest on the wall there that I quite like. If you click on that one, just so there's a cadaver on the wall, and it like slices up and drops some items.
Okay, dude.
So that's kind of fun.
That's kind of fun.
Like, slices up and
Dude, look at that. Look at this thing.
so there's a cadaver on the wall, and it like slices up and drops some items. So that's kind of fun. We actually originally just had half a person there, but it really just looked like an anatomy diagram. So we needed to do something to show the fact that it was actually a modeled human there. So that was fun. So yeah. So one of the other things we haven't even talked about, which is another really important character development system in Path of Exile, is of course items.
I'm going to play Warrior.
Now, items in Path of
first,
Exile
and then
work
Monk.
like many other action RPGs, but I think that we do a particularly good job.
I like
of
it too,
having,
man. It's fucking
interesting affixes and
hilarious.
suffixes. If you have a look at
It's
the
a
items on the
game.
character, like they effectively generate. We have normal, magic, rare, and uniques. Magic items can have up to 2 mods. Rare items can have up to 6.
Which
and
are very
effectively,
familiar. I
each
love
of the
it.
different slots has a pool of mods that's unique to it. But one of the other things that's
Yeah, I'm kind of happy they didn't add many new stats. Like, it all looks very much the same, but it's just all new, right?
sort of really important about PoE is crafting items. So here we have different crafting items that allow you to add affixes to items. If you use an Orb of Transmutation, it'll turn this magic item to a 1 mod magic. If you use an Orb of Augmentation, it'll add an extra mod to make it into a 2 mod magic. You've also got Regal Orbs that will turn it into a 3 mod rare, which is normally...
Well, alterations still exist. I feel like alterations and such, they have removed a lot of that stuff, most likely. I feel like it's a lot more like you craft an item and can't really change much. Maybe with, I mean, there is a chaos over there.
Normally that have 4, but if you do it this way, you get 3. And then you can use Exalted Orbs to add more mods than that to make up to 6 mods. Now, something in Path of Exile 2 that's very different than PoE 1 is that these currency items to add mods to items
wonder what
are
that
much,
one
much
below
more
it is.
common than
Is
they
that a
were
regret?
before, and you're really going to be expected to use
The
them throughout the campaign.
1919.
It's like a really important element of player power. We've actually changed the way the scaling works in quite a lot of elements to kind of try and make it so that picking up like new blue items is going to actually be an interesting choice for you. Using regals and exalts on them are pretty interesting, and also you get regals by selling by disenchanting rares as well. So effectively, you can get quite a lot of regals in order to upgrade items to rares.
That's what they've shown.
Easily.
Wait, hold on. Did he just show the Chaos Orb?
So effectively, you can get quite a lot of regals in order to upgrade items to rares.
That's the Exalted. No, I did not go over there.
So,
oh, he did. Well, I want to see if the Chaos looks any different. Removes, Chaos Orb removes a random modifier and augments a rare item with a new random modifier. So it removes, it's only removing 1 modifier and adds 1 new. So it basically annuls something and adds something new. This is the first time you see it. Yeah, dude, I haven't seen a lot of stuff.
now, these crafting items, the other thing that's important about them is you can use them on any base type, not just...
Wait, what was that one? The white one. Annulment removes. Okay, so that's annulment.
Items you can equip. They're used throughout the game for many different purposes, for the end game as well, and many other things. So you could use them on flasks and charms. There's all sorts of places.
I stream 12 hours a day, man, playing games. Do you think I have time for anything? That's why I'm making time now.
The other items, of course, that we have is lots and lots of unique items. There are hundreds of them in PoE.
Grant skill. People already want PoE 2 and full scale builds and learn the wiki. Well, I mean, I understand why they want it, but we're not going to get it. They basically confirmed they're not going to give too much information because they want everyone to be kind of fresh. But I wonder if they stick to that, but we'll see. I mean, usually stuff gets data mined anyways, right? Yeah.
2. There'll be hundreds and hundreds more as we go along. You know, some of them are pretty interesting. They all do things. They aren't just upgraded rares. They all do something kind of interesting. So for example, here we have a boots called Corpse Wade. If you put that on there and then you walk through a corpse, it'll make them explode and turn into little puffs of green chaos damage there.
Dude, that's cool.
That's not something you're going to get on a rare item. Another one here is called Sands of Silk. If you put this one on, what it's going to do is change your dodge roll into a teleport, into a blip that can blink through monsters.
That's fucking
once
cool.
again, not something you get on a rare. But there's, you know, a few others here that
It's
are kind
fun
of
for leveling.
Next one here is called Couture of Crimson. It makes Life Leech overflow maximum life. So as you attack monsters, you can get like over health above your normal maximum if you're using Life Leech. Another one here, for example, pretty simple in some ways, is Quill Rain. This thing here just has ridiculous attack speed, if you but low damage. If you want to make an interesting bow build where you're just making, where you want to hit huge amounts of times, don't necessarily care about the damage dealt, Quill Rain is going to be something for you.
And what is
or
that
another one
thing, a
here called the
shield?
Wailing Wall. This one here disables shield skills, but makes you able to block damage from all hits without having to raise your shield.
Oh,
So
shit.
effectively, if you want to be able to block a lot of damage, but you don't care about being able to use other shield skills, this could be a good one. So all of these are what we call build enabling. They're interesting things that you might be able to build a character around, do something
that
interesting
sounds
with.
awesome.
And they're a big part of how the in-game, you know, things that you can find at in-game.
Yeah, I'm
things that
a
you're gonna be
block
sort of going throughout the
fanboy
game,
now.
things that might affect how your character is played.
So, on the eve of the end, the demon of Atzoatl has
The boss
finally
fights look so
come
cool, man.
for me.
I think they're showing a whole boss fight now.
Of our future. Pathetic.
The sounds are so good. He's staggered. Look at that. So it's kind of like Diablo. Like a little stagger bar.
Ends justify the means.
I assume they take extra damage.
Let's see how you handle this. I can't give up. Not now. The cataclysm must be stopped.
I wonder what a divine orb will do, or if it still exists.
I think not. I will fight to the.
But I hope mirrors are still exactly the same.
There's no need for all
Dude,
this.
this thing looks crazy, man. Doriani's Triumph.
I've got you now.
Wonder what that debuff bar was on the boss. You can see a debuff bar, like it says 1400, 2200, and at 2200 it kind of stops. I like how the grenade bounced off the mob. It doesn't just go underneath him.
Are within my grasp.
It feels really connective.
Nothing can stand in my. I've got you now.
But how do you guys feel about the rolling stuff?
Fatal.
I kind of like it though. I mean, you guys know how much I liked V Rising. I loved V Rising. I just hope that it's gonna be melee friendly. But it's GGG though. They usually make pretty awesome games, so. I wonder how it's gonna feel once you have like a very, very strong character. Oof. He took some serious damage there. Dude, the boss was literally bending over just now. So what's actually the back? That thing out of... Yeah, that's the back, right? Yeah. This boss looks so cool, man.
All right. So far we've been showing you footage from the campaign. One of the really important things in any action RPG is the end game. Now, something that happens almost every time a new action RPG launches is people saying there isn't enough end game content. We really want to make sure that in PoE 2 people don't feel that way. And it's something that we actually changed our priorities for as a studio relatively recently. Now, the first 3 acts of PoE 2 take around 25 hours to complete. This is already longer than many campaigns in other games. On the other hand, people spend hundreds of...
Yeah, I can't believe people complain about the length of a campaign. But, I mean, this is the length of a campaign when you play it for the first time. Dude, the first time you ever played Path of Exile 1, you did not complete it in 5 hours. Dude, even the first time I played Diablo 4, I did not complete it in 5 hours. It actually did take a bit longer. I think 20 to 25 hours is great. I'd rather have a really good campaign and good other stuff than just, you know, rushing through some bullshit story. I mean, look at Diablo 4, the expansion. Everyone's complaining about the campaign. The campaign sucks. And then here we are, people are complaining about, oh, the campaign is going to be 25 to 50 hours. Dude, it's good. It's good. I love it.
Of hours in endgame. We realized that finishing
it's not going to take that long on the second playthrough, though, because you know what to do.
Would actually be a very bad idea. So instead of having acts 4 to 6 in early access, it's much better for us to concentrate on endgame and make that great. If you're a new player, a 25-hour campaign is already a huge game with plenty of content. Yes. But if you're an existing action RPG player, then what you're going to care about is the endgame challenges that you have to complete. If we launched with a double-length campaign and a bad endgame, we'd effectively have to say, hey, trust us, a good endgame is coming later. But if we launch with a 25-hour campaign and a great endgame, then people can easily understand what's coming when we say, oh, yeah, and there's 3 more acts coming really soon.
Yeah.
Now, in early access, there are...
To be honest, the only people I've seen complaining about Path of Exile 2 campaign length are Diablo 4 streamers or Diablo 4 players. So, yeah.
50 bosses currently and around 400 monster types, but effectively the game is going to double in size during early access and to be 6 acts with 100 bosses and around 800 monster types. Whew. Now the great thing is the rest of the game is like 80%
monster
there,
types,
and so we'll be adding content very quickly during early access, and so you can expect to see a lot of that coming really quickly.
Yeah, I wonder which monsters we're absolutely going to hate. Because there's a couple monsters I can name right now in Path of Exile 1 that I absolutely hate. The guy shooting the lightning balls that will continue to be there after even the monster dies and you can't get rid of them. They stay a bit too long and they do AoE damage and they kill you very quick. The stupid monsters that go underground, they're 100% in Path of Exile 2. I can promise you right now. Those crabs that go underground and waste your time, they're going to be in this game. Roas are there for you, man. Don't worry. There's definitely a couple monsters I really don't like. But yeah, that's a game needs to have shitty monsters, because if every monster is just fantastically fun to kill and there's no challenge, then it wouldn't be good. There's 800 monster types.
Now, in order to make
Holy
the
shit.
endgame happen at the same player level, we've had to add a second difficulty
Pinnacle
called
Roa.
Crawl difficulty, where you repeat the campaign with all the monsters and bosses harder, but also better rewards. If you sort of look at it in traditional game terms, you can think of it as a kind of like new game plus type thing, but we've actually made quite a lot of changes to the game throughout as well, which you'll probably enjoy as well. And that'll take you to around level 65, which is where the end game begins. So let's talk about what the end game is. So in PoE, there are many different endgame grinds. One of the things that's kind of really important is that people feel like they've got a choice between many different types of activities in the endgame. So for PoE 2, at the start of early access, we're going to have 8 primary endgame grinds that you can do, all of which have their own sort of systems for leveling them up, improving them, unique rewards, player power that you can get only from them. And we're going to introduce the first 2 of them right here during the campaign, which are the Ascension Trials. So the Ascension Trials in Path of Exile 2, you do encounter them in the campaign to start with, but then they level up all the way to endgame and they have interesting mechanics. So this first one here is called the Trial of the Sekimas, and it's actually a sequel to Sanctum League from PoE 1. So we've actually done quite a lot of sequels to leagues from PoE 1 with new mechanics and new stuff, but all of them have new things going on. So basically, in order to the trial,
excited for this, to be honest.
A place where the Maraketh came to be tested and gain
I haven't
power.
done that much
In order to
Sanctum.
gain entry,
Like, I've not done that much Sanctum, but I do kind of like Sanctum. Yeah, we'll see how we'll like this.
you need a coin containing the soul of a djinn, and then once you put it in the relic altar there, then you can enter.
But Sanctum is not for everyone.
And start playing. Now, the trial is made up of various different rooms, and it works a little bit like a roguelike type encounter system, where effectively you pick each room, and then within each room there's a different challenge. This one is a ritual trial,
Diablo-like
which
encounter.
has these monster summoners, so they're effectively summoning monsters, and you want to be able to kill those as fast as you can to complete the room. That one was relatively easy. So once you've completed the room, you can go into the next room to get your reward.
Dude, that was so quick.
Now in this case, we have a silver key. Keys can be used at the end of the trial to be able to get rewards.
The trial map looks
you have to
really
be able
nice.
to survive the entire trial to be able to claim them. Now this is the map for the trial, and you can effectively pick what type of room you'd like to go to next.
There's so many rooms though. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
There are a few different issues. One of them is that the next room will have a type, so for a type of trial. For example, here's an hourglass trial, and it also has a type of reward, but also some of them have boons or afflictions that might get you. So this one says, for example, when you enter it, that it'll afflict you with blunt sword on entry, which means you and your minions deal 40% less damage. We probably don't want to do that as a minion build, but they have better rewards in exchange for that. So once you've picked your room, you can go and do the next one.
In the end, people are just going to go through this as quick as possible, get your Ascendancy and leave.
Now, one thing that I didn't mention at the start of this is that unlike in the normal game, if you take hits in this mode, then you're going to lose a resource called Honor. If you run out of Honor, then you have to leave the trial. So effectively, you want to really try and play these runs as hitless as possible, and that means that all the monsters we've selected usually have to be avoidable in some way, have dodgeable mechanics, and that's sort of why Octavian is playing as safely as he possibly can here. He doesn't want to get too close to the boss or that monster there, because he doesn't want to lose Honor.
Honor.
Oh yes, it is. Okay. No.
How much content will there be with early access? So you got 3 acts, the first 3 acts, and 50 bosses, and a whole bunch of endgame. Endgame starts at level 65, basically, but because there's only 3 out of the 6 acts during early access, you're gonna have to play the first 3 acts twice. So you got 1, 2, 3, and then you go to Cruel, and then you do 1, 2, 3, and then you get to the endgame. It's the same way they did it with the original Pen of Exile. Is it worth $30? It's worth like way more.
All right, so once the trial's complete, once again, you can go and get the reward, which in this case is a bronze key again, because we picked one that had the same reward. We'll do one more. So that one's a Sacred Water.
Wait, the trials are kind of fast, so that looks
sure,
good.
let's do it. All right, cool.
These
the
look
next one's called a
tinier
Chalice
than
trial.
normal Sanctum.
Effectively, there's a blood chalice here, which you need to fill with blood by killing rare monsters in this area. Once you've killed all the rare monsters, you can continue. Now there are a lot of different rooms in the trial. There are around 70 in level 1, and they're random. What you
well,
get
in the
each
end, the
time.
game is free,
so,
right? It's just early access what you're paying for. It's a free game.
Expect to find, the kind of boons and afflictions you get, the monsters that you'll face, this kind of thing. All of these are very different. And there's also 4 floors as well. This is just the first floor. Each floor looks different and has different mechanics, rewards.
You do want to buy stash dapps, so there is a little bit of.
Once again, like I said,
like
there's got to be ways as well for it to sort of expand into the game.
And like it's free to try.
Have ways to expand it and ways
once
to
it's done,
make it
right?
both more damaging and more rewarding.
There's going to be people that will wait. I'm not gonna be one of them though.
Where's that other red? There he is. Oh, avoid that one.
Death is my power to wield.
All right, so that's this trial complete. And once again, you can get the reward you picked, which I believe was Sacred Water in this case. So Sacred Water is a resource that you can use throughout your run. Effectively, it's a currency that can be used in a shop that you can find throughout the run as well. Water is obviously a very hard resource in the desert. So in the interest of time, what we're going to do now is skip to the last room in this floor of the Sanctum, which is a boss room.
Formidable. Steel yourself.
Random shot of random person.
All right, so here we have Rattle Cage.
Bosses look so fucking cool, man. Yo, polymorph. Well, it's getting too itchy, man. I couldn't stand it. It's draining me. But I wonder how this will be as a melee. This Sanctum stuff. Because let's think about it. Sanctum is very much played usually by ranged, right? Most Sanctum players have some range stuff. Oh, we'll see. Gonna block everything with my shield. Easy. Yeah. Chaos. Yeah, warrior first. Of course. I'm a melee Andy, guys. Doesn't even look like this character is playing the game.
Infection.
Just rolling around and having like... Oh wow, there's actually so many little volcanoes going on. I thought it was a part of the story, but it's the boss mechanic. Nice. You're gonna dual wield Kongors and Dying Rage.
The
Nice.
first floor of the Sanctum, but there's lots more bosses in Sanctum to find. As I said, there's multiple floors. They each have interesting things. Now, at the end of each floor, you'll get the ability to pick from various different chests. The keys that drop give the ability to open these caches here. So you want to pick which one because each of them have different types of rewards in them. Now, the other thing that you get to do here is use the Altar of Ascendancy. Now, unfortunately, we forgot to reset the Ascendancy class, so you're not going to be able to see the list there when we did the thing before. But effectively, once you've the first time you use the Altar of Ascendancy, you get to pick between 3 different Ascendancy classes. In early access, there's only going to be 2 available for each class, and we're going to be adding the rest later. And those give you interesting things that are only available to your class because no other class gets those things on the passive tree. Now, with Ascendancy classes in PoE2, have really tried to do a lot better in terms of how interesting the things are. For example, this particular class, and because I can't see the name on the screen, I forgot what it's called, Infernalist, right? It's got some pretty interesting abilities. One of them here is called the Hellhound.
Summon Infernal Hellhound. 20% of the damage from hits is taken from your Hellhound's life. Oh, nice.
So this one gives the ability to summon a Hellhound. When you summon it, it has a few abilities. One of them is that it sets everything next to it on fire. It's a minion, so because we're a minion class, this can be really useful. But also it takes damage for you. Every time you take damage, it gets transferred to the Hellhound. So, you know, he's a really good boy. Another one that's really interesting is that, if we just respec quickly away from that, is turning into a called Demon Form. So when you use demon form, you turn into a demon. While you're a demon, you lose life constantly,
Dude,
but
this
you
looks
also
so good,
have
though.
much higher spell damage.
Look how fast
and,
the health
much,
goes down.
Faster cast
Holy.
speed. The longer you survive, the higher those numbers get. So
No, that did not show all.
but you're going to continuously take damage. So you're probably, if you're
Holy,
going to use
dude,
this,
it
you
just
probably
ramps
want
up
to do
so
a build
quick.
that involves getting high life regeneration in some manner, so you can survive as long as possible and do a large amount of damage. So that's an example, just 2 nodes.
I feel like
from
that's
the
going to be so OP.
Infernalist. But of course, there's lots of interesting nodes there, and you're going to want to ascend, get more points by doing more ascension trials, and continue to get more player power. Now in PoE 2, you actually all of the ascension trials. Oh, that's right. Sorry, we haven't even finished this one yet. All right, hang on. Where was I? All right, that's right. Okay, so let's talk about how this extends into Endgame. So effectively, as you go through this trial, you might find items called relics. And relics are these items here, which can be crafted. You can see an example of a blue one here. This one says monsters have a 4% chance to drop double sacred water and gain 16 sacred water at the start of the trial. Now, these are ways that you can effectively improve your odds as you go through, but there's some pretty interesting ones as well. Let's have another look at another couple. Bosses deal 4% reduced damage. These ones are very low level and simple, but they can get quite powerful. If you click on the relic altar before you start your run, put a
The one
coin
at the
in,
bottom right
then
there
you've
is
got
a
these
bit
slots here that you can put the relic
special
in.
one.
And you can also unlock more slots by doing more, by doing this more in order to be able to put more in. There are also unique relics, like for
that's the
example this
no-hit
one
one.
here that
Temporalis. Maximum honor is 1. So I wonder what this Temporalis thing is. In the coldest depths of winter of the world, overrun by darkness and fighting to the last, life itself clung to existence by its barest remaining thread.
says that the boss at the end of the entire trial will drop a specific unique item, but your maximum honor is 1, which means you can take
Like
exactly
original
1
sin,
hit,
I guess.
which means that you need to do a hitless run in order to be able to
Temporalis sounds OP, I guess.
So there are lots of other interesting unique relics that do other things. The ability to extend this and get into endgame is pretty high. And one of the reasons you're going to want to do that is because like all of these different endgame mechanics, there's unique player power that only comes from it. So in this particular case, we have jewels. Jewels are coming back in PoE 2 as well. You can see an example of one of them here. These are things that you can socket into your passive tree to be able to get more stats. So this one says 15% increased maximum energy shield, and minions have plus 7% to all elemental resistances. Now, because of the fact that you can roll these yourself and stack them, there's some pretty interesting things you can do with jewels. And there's also jewels that have other kind of random and weird effects.
I absolutely love that you can just put it like it's like that, and you can choose your attributes like strength, or you can instantly just become a strength sork, for example. It's crazy.
It's like, for example, this one here says upgrades. Says that 25% increased effect of small passive skills and radius. So this one actually modifies the other skills on the passive tree to improve them.
Look how many notables are affected.
With some interesting things and some interesting overlaps, you can do some pretty cool stuff with those as well. There are, of course, unique jewels and other things going on, and I won't go too much into it, but effectively, this does scale all the way in game, has uniques, has ways to scale it, and a lot of interesting things you can do. The next trial we're going to talk about is the Trial of the Chaos God. Now,
it's still going to be very
PoE1,
complex, 100%.
Every time you want to get more Ascendancy points, there's a new trial that you have to do to do that. So this is the second trial that you can do, and once again, it's also an in-game mechanic that that can be expanded upon. So we're going to use the Mercenary for this one. Now, this is the one you're going to encounter in Act 3 for the first time, but as I said, it extends to in-game as well. Finishing the Ascension trial was kind of an ancient rite for the Vaal that conveyed power and respect. Entry requires a token from a strange entity called the Trial Master.
Yeah, play at your own
and this
pace,
is actually
exactly.
a sequel to a league from PoE 1 called Ultimatum, but it works very differently. So to start with, he's going to offer the trial, make the offering to the trial, and then he can walk in. Now, before you enter each room in the Trial of the Chaos God, you're going to have to pick from one of the downsides that's going to affect you for the entire rest of the trial. So the Trial Master is here, and he's going to offer you an item to start with. Here's the item that you're going to get.
Crumbling Maul causes enemies to explode on critical kill. Critical kill. For 10% of their life as physical. Fire, bolt. But it also has chaos damage, but it doesn't say chaos anywhere. It just says chaos. So does that mean that it's just base chaos damage? it always comes with chaos damage, like that 10 to 14 to 20, because I don't see chaos damage on here. It has the fire and cold as prefixes, critical strike chance, stun build up, and stun duration. Oh wait, it's red. Shit, I missed that. It's the red thing. Yeah. Above explode. So what is? Oh, that is a corruption. So that's the corrupted. Okay, so corrupted stats. I didn't even see that because I usually don't look at the red because red usually means I don't know something else. But now we got red lines of text, and I guess that is the corrupted part. Maybe
if you complete this room, and he's also going to say pick one of these 3 things that's going to potentially hurt you. In this case, we're going to pick blood globules, which will one of the easier ones.
Yeah, I'm very curious about that too, guy.
These blood balls are going to appear above your head and slam down periodically.
Are you ready, Challenger?
As you walk into the room, he's going to summon a bunch of these monsters. Now, each of the rooms has different mechanics. This one's very
It's funny
simple.
how the brain works and just filters out certain things. You automatically don't look at them. Yeah, they rework potions. There's no piano. It's just 1 and 2.
That's that blood globule I talked about earlier.
Mana and life. And then you got like charms for other stuff.
Seem very threatening right now, but
Those
as
are
you go through
passive.
each room, you're going to add more and more mechanics that are going to hurt you, and so it can get quite intense by the time you've gotten to the end.
So these charms down here, he showed it earlier. They are basically passive. You just put them on, and they'll activate based on certain circumstances.
Who's next?
Yo.
There we go. So I've defeated all the monsters in
Thank
this
you
room.
for
and we can
27
move on to the
months.
next one.
Hell yeah, dude. Thank you.
So as we move to the next room, once again, the Trial Master is going to give us a choice. Basically, sort of double or nothing. Do you want to take another reward and make the game harder again, or do you want to take the rewards you've already received so far and leave with your ill-gotten gains? In this case, obviously, like most players, you're probably going to want to pick another reward and keep going. So there's the existing one, blood globules, and that'll keep stacking up. But we're also going to add shocking turrets here, which are going to add turrets through the.
I
room,
like
which,
this, man.
You'll have to deal with as well.
Like a different way of ultimatum is fucking sweet. I really like it.
This one is a trial that requires, it's a timed encounter type trial.
Live.
As you can see, there's those lightning turrets there now, which you also have to deal with. And it's going to spawn a lot of monsters that you have to
Holy
survive.
shit, he took so much damage.
You don't have to actually kill all of them. If the time runs out, then they're all going to go away. So, yeah, you can, you just have to survive.
But killing things is fun. Holy shit, did you see that? Fucking dinosaur. But they're all dinosaurs. Kind of.
And the Vaal had a culture of risk-taking.
It's
so
like
all
a
these kind of risk
Triceratops.
versus reward mechanics are very much
Look at
work
that.
for them.
He's shooting
The way they're
lasers.
crafted and a bunch of other things like that all sort
And
of
his
relate to
head
kind of
splits
risk-taking.
open? What the fuck is that? Dude, that thing looks so cool.
Stuck.
There is. Uh-oh, he's stuck.
You've only got 4 seconds. Just survive for 4 seconds. Yeah.
He's stuck. Classic PoE, dude.
Managed to flask through it. So it's
Oh
okay.
shit. Nice. He stood there hopelessly. Then it's the choice. Like, do I keep damaging and kill stuff? Or do I try and roll away
So as
and
you get
fail
towards
and
the
die?
end game, there'll be a very significant number of rooms you can do in a row. You can just keep on making it harder and harder. In this first version of it, you're going to... in this first version of it, you only have to do 4 rooms to be able to ascend. But once again, if you can't do them all in a row in one go without dying, then you'll lose your entry ticket. So you'll have to get another one to get in. So once
Yo,
again, like
Dafty,
the other
thank you.
challenge, you'll want
Thank
to
you
be,
for
make sure that
Prime.
you're ready before you do this trial. Now, this
Much love,
particular one
man.
involves pushing this idol forward. When you're near the idol, it moves forward. When you're, as you get further away, it falls down and doesn't move anymore. So ideally,
Oh
get close to
god.
it. Now, as you move it forward, it's also going to spawn these, trigger these monster elevators with monsters that are going to come down as well.
Wait, can you drag them underneath? Oh, there's Bajira. Ah, you can use it to kill them. Nice. Can you stand underneath it yourself and take damage? Just one shot you. Few more days, man. Few more days, guys.
All right,
thank you once again,
That one
Dafty.
dragged a little bit, but it's okay. We finally got there in the end. All right. So just like in Sanctum, there are also bosses that you can get as you go through here. The order of them is random, and so they can be very hard or relatively easy depending on when you encounter them and what things that you've picked beforehand. Before the boss, once again, the Trial Master will ask you to pick, do you want to bail now or do you want to pick something else?
Time paradigm. Wait, what was this?
That looks okay.
Buffs expire 3 times faster and debuffs expire 3 times slower.
That looks okay.
What was the pyramid thing? Hold on. Pyramid objects appear, projecting 4 rotating lasers that inflict corrupted blood on hits. Oh my god. Oh my god. Corrupted blood on hit, guys. Fun times.
Protect them.
So here's one of the bosses you can find in the Trial of the Chaos God.
Did he pick that one or?
Will bring you to your end.
Vulture of Chaos. Ismakane. Holy crap, man, that's a lot of damage. Oh my god, the damage. Dude, that one attack is so nasty.
That tornado has killed him the most times in practices, by the way. It's lethal.
The tornadoes are always lethal. Imagine getting a boss at wave 10. It's gonna be intense. All bosses look fun for melee, yes. Dude, melee master race, guys. Log in. I'm definitely gonna be playing melee. I don't care, man. Fuck it.
Will be your downfall.
So that's as far as we're going to go in this trial for now at this low level. And of course, once again, you'd be able to ascend here if this is as far as you can get during the campaign. But there's a lot more stuff you can get. So the Trial Master now is going to give you the rewards that you've earned throughout the trial. And there are a lot of rewards that are unique just to this trial. So let's go through a few of these that we've got here.
Okay, so hold on. One question. I haven't made a build in Pet of Exile. Does anyone know if it's going to be easier to make in Pet of Exile 2? I think making your own build is still going to be complex. It will require you to have some knowledge of items, I guess, and a little bit of knowledge of how to make a path. It should be easier now, but it's still going to be complex. I mean, Pet of Exile 1 is very complex. This is going to be a slightly less complex game. There's still going to be insane depth and complexity, but it's going to be probably a little bit less insane than Pet of Exile 1, which scares a lot of people. But I think Pet of Exile 2 is going to be more accessible for people. Absolutely, 100%. And, you know, to be honest, any game can be complex. I mean, even Diablo 4 has complexity, right? But it's just... yeah, complexity in a different way. Diablo, I mean, yeah, Pet of Exile just does everything in a good way. I mean, I really just don't like the Paragon system in Diablo 4, but I do really like the passive tree with 1,500 passives in Pet of Exile 2. And let's grab Pet of Exile 1, for example. Right? So even though you have this massive passive tree, you see that I only use a couple here at the bottom. That's it. So the only thing that matters for me is basically this little part. This little part matters, and then everything else is like a massive whatever, right? So whenever you start playing a class, you just look at, like, you just zoom in. Zoom in, look at what's close, look at the big ones, for example. You just have to look at the big ones, and then you decide, do I want these? And then you work from there. Once you pick something, then you move on. Obviously, you can look a little bit on the broader set where you eventually want to go. But yeah, this will always be complex, and that's going to be complex in Pet of Exile 2 as well. In Pet of Exile 1, however, strength, dexterity is just dexterity. In Pet of Exile 2, dexterity can also be int or strength. I love that. I think that is so poggies. That is so cool. And there's no live notes on the new tree. Interesting.
Now the first thing he's going to offer...
no live notes on the new tree, guys.
With a socket in it. Now, we removed gem sockets from PoE 2, but we've actually re-added back sockets in a much more traditional way as things that you can put items in to get extra mods.
So basically, every item has abyssal sockets now.
This is a Soul Core of Thunder. If you put it in a weapon, you get lightning damage. If you put it in a shield, then an armor, you're going to get 10% lightning resistance.
Nice.
And this is player power. You can't get any other way than sockets, and it's only unlocked through content that you can get through here. Now, if you want to be able to actually add sockets to existing gear as opposed to using the sockets that are on gear that you get from here, you're going to have to use these things called
probably
Vile
then
Orbs.
Very limited in
Vile Orbs
Satoshi.
modify things unpredictably,
Yeah, we'll find out
and they
soon
work a
enough.
little bit differently than they used to in PoE 1. Now, the first thing I want to mention is the fact that these corrupt items, and what that means is that after you've used this, you can't use it on another item again. So that's the last thing you want to do in your crafting step.
Hey, Ramster.
This particular one here rolled with it got an extra mod. It got 14 to 20 chaos damage as an extra mod, as well as getting corrupted. But they can also do other things. So we'll use it on some of our gear here. You can equip it. I think you can leave it equipped. Yeah. So we're going to use it on his bow here. Okay, so that one gave him a socket. Excellent. So now he'll be able to upgrade his bow with a Soul Core to get an extra mod. So that's really valuable. Probably wouldn't have picked that one, but that's fine. That's what he had. Then we've also got, let's see in some other results. That one, okay, so that one just modified random mods on the item. So probably not good, not what you wanted. That's a bad outcome.
Yeah.
On the other hand here, all right, added another mod, 25% increased armor and evasion. That's a very good roll.
When it adds
so
another mod, it becomes like a red
random
mod.
results. You don't probably want to use them on the items that you've got equipped because they're likely to potentially damage them or make them worse. But there's player power that you can get from this that you can't get any other way. So it's something that you're definitely going to want to be able to do as you go through the game. Now, of course, because we got to the end here, we can also ascend. For this particular one, we might as well just ascend this character. So there's the Witch Hunter, which you can pick, and might as well just pick a simple node. I mean, there's a basic one that's just Culling Strike. You might as well pick that. We can pick, and might as well just ascend this character.
Mouse over to or something. Let's see. Hold on. I wanna see what the line. Like, he mouse over to one of the end ones. Come on. Hurry up. His mouse was very close to one of the last ones. Alright, here we go. Yeah. Come on, move it. Oh, dude, he skimmed it. Wait, okay, that's no mercy. Deal up to 30% more damage to enemies based on their missing concentration.
And might as well just pick a simple node. I mean, there's a basic one that's just Culling Strike.
Culling Strike.
We didn't actually plan to show this character class while we're doing here, so just, ascending while we're at it. Now, right there, you also see there's an entrance to the Trial Master's Tower. That's like a special endgame thing, which we're not going to show you, but effectively that's the pinnacle boss for this particular
three-face
endgame
to
grind.
unlock the door.
But let's talk a little bit about how you're going to expand on this. So if you go back to the start of the area, the keys not only have let you get into the trial, but they also going to have mods on them as well that allow you to do different things. And just like the Vaal always have, we want to make sure that there's things that have both bonuses and downsides. That they're very double and
maybe Exalts. They've kind of hinted towards Exalts.
Sacrifice up to 10 exalted orbs to receive double that on trial completion. So effectively, you can go double or nothing on currency.
Maybe
as well.
Exalts will be the new chaos, but yeah, we'll find out.
Player resistances, which is a pretty
excited,
nasty downside. You can roll these things, and they have some pretty interesting mods on them. So
what do you guys think is going to be the main traded
now, of course, there's also
currency?
uniques only
Chaos,
available
Exalts,
here, and various other things available here. So
will Divine still be Poggies?
Want to do that. So those are the two trials that extend into endgame that are during the campaign. But now we want to show you how the actual endgame, sort of primary endgame system itself works. So we're going to have to get a higher level monk to be able to show you that. Now, I'm not going to get too much into the plot of this, but this is where you're going to start in the endgame. And just like in PoE 1, we have a thing called the map device that you're going to be using to travel around. But what you actually get when you click on the map device is going to be quite different. Now, the storyline here effectively is that there's corruption from the beast has spread across the land, and you're going to need to try and cleanse it. Now, this is actually an infinitely scrolling map that goes in all directions and contains all areas you can go to. You can go to each map only one time, so you're going to want to, you're kind of try and want to find, interesting places to go.
So, infinite. So it's a little bit like Last Epoch, and you can only go to each map once. So let's say you ended up here, then you try this, you die, then you try this, you die, and you try this, you die. That locks you in this place. There will have to be some sort of way. Yeah, I guess you're going to reset the tree. Dude, but that would suck though. Yeah. You can brick your atlas. But I wonder how, I wonder if there's certain parts that allow you to save on a certain point, like a little city. I think you could make hideouts, right? Or something. Yeah. I don't know, but they probably did something clever with it.
Now, this is the primary thing to explore after you finish the campaign, and there's all sorts of things to find on here. There's bosses,
it's gonna look funny,
towers, there's beast corruption, there's rare areas with interesting mechanics, all sorts of in-game content that you can see these icons for.
Wildlands spurn those who claim to rule them all. Okay.
All
so
around the place. And
modifier.
hideouts, roving merchants, and even cities. Now, effectively, in order to travel to one of these, what you're going to do is click on it, and then you can travel to it using a waystone.
And there is 4 extra sockets, guys. But we haven't seen anything like scarabs yet.
Now, these waystones effectively work like maps did in Path of Exile 1. You can craft them and so on as well. Once you've gone to the map, then what you're going to find...
Wait, but hold on. People said that if you die in the map instantly done, right? But then why is there 6 portals when you're alone?
Craft them and so on as well. Once you've gone to the map, then what you're going to find is a randomly generated... Oh, okay, he immediately clicked the portal back. Classic mistake.
I guess just for loot.
What you're going to find here is a randomly generated area, and we've really ramped the random generation up to 11.
6 portals for loot.
For this. Obviously, all the monsters here are also going to be random, and one thing I will mention is that the variety of monsters in PoE 2 is a lot higher, and they have a lot more interesting abilities, which means that interesting combinations of them in maps can really produce interesting results. These particular ones that were randomly picked here seem to be relatively simple, so I guess that point isn't that well made today, but that's all right. Now, this monk is effectively the same kind of build.
This is a different video.
But it's a lot faster for in-game. But what we're going to do is we're going to amp it up a little bit further just to sort of see some of the kind of things that you can do in in-game as well. So after we've finished clearing this pack, then we'll do that. So let's open up this, and what we're going to do is this is a character that frees a lot of things, so we're going to add a cast on freeze gem here. And what that's going to mean is every time you freeze a monster, it has the ability to
I'll link it after the video's done.
cast whatever spell of your choice. In this case, we're going to cast Frost Wall. And we're going to add Fortress and reduce cooldown to that so that we can cast them all of the time. And they're going to go in a circle around the monster that got frozen. So effectively, because it's going to create a lot more frozen objects around the monster, when you use your Glacial Cascade, they're going to do a lot more damage and explode for a huge amount of a huge amount of damage as well.
Looks
So
like
the
there's a
goal
lot
here
of
is
crowd
to,
control. Dude,
cleanse the
Monk looks
corruption on the
so
map, and you do that by
fucking
killing
cool,
all the
though.
rares, and if there's a
This is
map
Monk,
boss, then killing
right?
the map boss as well. Now there
Yeah.
are map bosses
Yeah,
that
this
can
is
spawn
Monk.
on every map. We've actually decided to not have a map boss every time you go to them, and instead you can see which areas have map bosses
Monk
on
does
the main
look
map.
very
What that means
fucking
is that we've
cool,
got the
man.
ability to have the map bosses be a lot more challenging, but also drop a lot more items as well. So because you don't encounter them quite so frequently, and you can also choose, you know, do I want to do bossing, or do I want to just grind maps and do other things? So it kind of gives the player that choice. So once you've completed the map, it'll be green on the in this area, and then effectively allows you to continue to explore. Now this map is kind of somewhat randomly explored, so you know, don't concentrate too much on that. But effectively, you're going to be expanding outwards from the center. Now, of course, the other thing you can do is craft maps with currency items. So if we get a you know, an Orb of Transmutation here, we can use that on there to get a mod on the item. Now the prefixes are benefits to you, and the suffixes are negatives to you. So this is something that we've changed a little bit how it works.
Oh.
So that means that you can just get a map that's just a straight up boon to you if you do a single. If you turn it into a magic with only one mod, but of course if you turn it into a rare, you're going to get a variety of downsides and upsides, and all of them can have different effects.
Awesome.
So once you've cleansed corruption from maps, then you can start to unlock the Atlas tree, which allows you to further upgrade your progression system for this thing. So here's the Atlas tree here. Now I've actually made what we've actually done here is all the different types of content have their own trees.
That's
Each one of them
super
is kind of
cool.
like an
I
Ascendancy
love that.
class, and then for that content. But there's also a primary tree that you get just for killing maps.
Yeah.
So there's a tree here for cleansing maps. There's also a tree for killing bosses, and then trees for doing other content on the Atlas as well.
they're
So you
really
you don't have to
downscaled
choose
this one.
Or rather, you can choose to do a piece of content, but
But
you're
it looks
not
really
going to be
cool,
losing
though.
anything
I
from any
like
of the
it.
other pieces of content when you decide to do them later. Effectively, they all have their own kind of scaling in that way. So a random example here, 20% increased magic monsters in your maps. Another random example, I don't know, 20% increased quantity of waystones found on your maps. But there's
Nice.
also like keystones here, like rare and unique monsters in your maps have 1 to 2 additional modifiers.
Nice.
It also
Risk.
adds extra
Scarab of Risk.
extra bonuses to drops as well.
Constant.
So these are the kinds of things that you can get on the tree, and that's one of the progression systems as well. Effectively, as I'm going through the Atlas tree here, but it's also kind of the gateway to a lot of the other mechanics. So, for example, here we see a map that's got this little hand icon, and that means that there is a breach in this map. There's also the boss icon there, which indicates there's a boss there as well. So we know there's a breach in there. You know, if you're looking for breaches, this is where you want to go. You can effectively always see the content that you're going to be able to face in maps as you look around the tree. And there's also going to be mechanics for adding more of them later, which we'll talk about as well. So at the start, you'll just have to find them randomly, but later on you can add them to maps too.
Wait, what was that red one?
So at the start, you'll just have
Oh, hold on, I was a bit
going to be
further back.
mechanics for adding more of them later, which we'll
The sandpit. It's basically a hazard. It kind of looks like
which we'll talk about as well.
ritual.
So
Yeah.
at the start, you'll just have to find them randomly, but later on you can add them to maps too. So let's have a look at this. All right, so breaches. So Breach is another one of the League sequels that we've done for Path of Exile 2, and it's also one of the sort of pinnacle like in-game content grinds that you'll be able to progress through. Breaches are effectively small fishes in reality that let you see into an alternate plane where demons roam free. And touching a breach will cause it to expand.
Breach is going to be very, very important.
So we're
Because
going
of
to
the
have to walk,
breach ranks.
unfortunately, directly there,
Those
which is
are
going to trigger
insane.
immediately, so you won't get to see what it looks like before you trigger it. But Octavian can do that now. So when you trigger it, and this is a horrible location for it, when you trigger it, all of these demons will start to come out of the other plane. Now, as you kill the demons, it's going to extend the amount of time. If you're a
Health
very
bar
good
in
player,
trouble.
And you can kill demons very quickly, you can keep this going for a very long time and like cover like half the map with it. If you're not as good, or maybe your build just isn't as strong, then you're not necessarily going to be able to do that. So it's very hectic. Oh yeah, there we go. So it's ended already. So effectively, you have to try, if you're very fast at kill speed, you're going to be able to take very good advantage of this particular mechanic.
I wonder if the
breaches,
breach
of course,
ring
have their own rewards, which is why you're going to want to do them.
only
let's
comes
just have a look on
from
the ground, see if we
bosses.
can find any. If you go back and have a look, did it drop any? Breach splinter. Right. So one of the, so there's a couple of things that they drop. So one of them is catalysts, and the other one is splinters. So which one should we talk about first? How about the catalysts? So catalysts are a reward you can get only from breach, and effectively what they do is increase the quality of specific modifiers on jewelry. So this one here says adds quality that enhances life modifiers on rings and amulets. So effectively, this is going to allow him to, if you use that on your ring or amulet, it'll allow you to increase the it'll add life quality that'll make the life roll on that amulet go up. This is an area of player power that sort of seems relatively subtle, but there's actually quite a lot to this that you can do. Breach also drops breach rings that are one of the best ring-based types because they allow
201 life, 50%
which means
quality.
that you can use those as base types to create some really crazy rings.
Level 56.
For the Endgame
Imagine
as well. So
level 80 items, guys. What the fuck?
Breach. The other thing you're going to find in Breach that will sort of
That's
unlock
gonna be
the pinnacle
nuts.
boss are these Breach splinters. So if you collect 300 Breach splinters, it'll allow you to make a Breach stone that will allow you to go to the Breach domain where you can fight one of the pinnacle bosses. Now we're actually going to show you this pinnacle boss for this particular league mechanic, just because it's nice to see one. But we're not going to show you any of the other pinnacle bosses in this demo. But all of the different types of league, all the different types of content that we have here, all have their own pinnacle bosses that we can do. Now this is effectively a map that's a single large breach, and you're going to have to be able to race through the entire map in the amount of time to be able to get there and finish it.
So yeah, this is the same way it works now, which is cool. These places are really good XP.
Now this is the domain where the demons
But I don't know how
live,
good
and you can see the kind of creepy hand stuff.
I don't see the experience bar move.
There, that's as it gets revealed.
Yeah, spells and everything look amazing. Just imagine the MTXs, guys. Just imagine the MTXs, because we're seeing everything without MTX. And the thing that I really noticed, armor actually looks good without MTX now. You don't look like someone that just went for, like, you know, clothing shopping at Walmart, for example. You actually look pretty fucking cool, even without MTX. Right now in Pet of Exile 1, to look good, you need to, you know, swipe. I can't wait to see what they'll do with future MTXs, the new ones. I can't wait. He only has 8 seconds left, by the way. He's like close to failing. Is he even gonna get to the boss? 4 seconds, 3 seconds? Okay, he's got 8 seconds. He's cutting it close. Four. He's doing his ability to move faster. Almost dying. He is on the clock here, man.
Looks like he did it. All right, so now if you keep going
Shit
here, we're gonna get to the boss.
We that dreamed. We in nightmare. We that are one.
Look at that. Shesh, so this is the guy whose wings we've gotten. So what is that number above? Is that the amount of damage you've done? 160 damage. That's like the combo. Okay, so now you can kind of see how much damage he's doing at the top right of the health bar. What do you think about DPS numbers? I mean, this is level 56, I think. That looks fine. Yeah. Yeah, the graphics are insane. Yeah, I like how subtle the damage is. I mean, this was not in Pet of Exile 1. Imagine playing Molten Strike of Zenith and then seeing that number. The number would be astronomical. I think they've updated all the MTXs for Pet of Exile 2 as well, though. But yeah, we'll see. This is me doing wishful thinking. It would be great. Dude, the music is so good as well. The music is incredible, man. This is going to be my life, guys, for the next 10 years, right? Look at that hand spell. I like how the fight gets progressively harder. But yeah, this is melee gameplay, right? So melee looks fine, man. Monk looks really dope, honestly. Is he using a second weapon set? I haven't really paid close attention to that. I like that little dodge jump he did there to avoid the spikes. I hope Mana Leech is going to be a thing. Do we know if there's Mana Leech in the game? Probably, right? Because I hate having to track my mana. That's always the one thing I hate the most. I don't know yet, Darkstar. We're going to have to try both and see what feels better. Holy crap, dude. Did you see that hit? Dude, look at this hit. Ooh, 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 that's big. That is a huge hit. Nice. Advanced layered gauntlets tier 3. Nice. So by the way, guys, if you want to get used to WASD gameplay, there is a game called V Rising. You should absolutely try it. You can try that game, get used to WASD gameplay. It's the ultimate Path of Exile training.
What is that? So that's an example of a pinnacle boss.
Okay.
And we're not going to show you the rest of them, but that's just kind of give you a flavor for what an in-game pinnacle boss might be like. But just like all of the pinnacle bosses, when you defeat them, you're going to get points for the Ascendancy tree. Sorry, not Ascendancy tree, for the Atlas tree for that particular content. So this is the Breach one here. Now, the idea is that you kill the boss, you make the whole league more difficult, and then you can beat the boss again at a higher difficulty and get more points. So the first point here you're going to see is +1 to Twisted Domain difficulty, which is going to effectively make Breach harder. It says here difficulty causes monsters to have increased damage and toughness as well as making them grant more experience to drop better items. But there's also effectively specific nodes that will give you interesting changes to that league mechanic. So for example, classed hands in your maps have a 25% chance to be guarded by a pack of magic monsters. Breaches in your maps have 50% more classed hands. Those things are effectively like breach chests that you find as the breach expands there. So that's like a bonus that you might choose to pick. There's lots of other ones here that you could pick as well. And as I said, each of the different types of content all have their own trees here that you can do your own stuff with. So that is, actually wait, there's one more thing that we forgot to tell you about, and this is kind of important, which is tablets. Okay, right, I should have gone over that earlier, so we'll just do it now. So effectively, right, when you do a breach in your maps, one of the things that you might find, and this is kind of important, are tablets. Now tablets are items in your inventory that you can use with these towers. If you open your inventory there and have a look at just finding a good place. So when you play breaches, you might find these breach tablets. And what this does is effectively adds more breaches to maps in the vicinity. So this says add 8 maps
What
in
is
range.
this atlas?
So 8
It's
maps in range
beautiful.
contain breaches, and breaches in your map spawn an additional rare monster.
Yeah, the atlas is infinite. Infinite.
So if you open a tower, it gives you this interface. You can put the tablet in there, and then when you use it, it affects the local area and adds a bunch of breaches around the place. So what that means is that all the content is self-reinforcing. If you want to play breaches, then you're going to find these tablets. You're going to use those to add more breaches to maps in the area and also boost what the breaches are doing, and then which will get you more tablets, which will get you more and more and so on. So it's effectively a way to, if you're choosing breach is the thing I want to be doing, then that means that you can effectively self-sustain breach for as long as you want to, and sort of effectively turn your map into that. This is the true for all the different mechanics that you can find on the Atlas. You know, you've got ones here for ritual and expedition.
I wonder how Atlas juicing is going to be.
So, all right. So that's kind of important. So what we've covered here effectively is, okay, obviously, actually, one thing I, of course, failed to mention is that, you know, there are uniques you only get from that pinnacle boss, of course, and so on. There are uniques you only get once you get to the difficulty of that pinnacle boss up to a certain level. So, of course, once again, each endgame grind has to have a way to expand it, a way to make it more difficult, a way to specialize into it, a way to
Yeah, it looks really cool.
Get rewards that are specific to that.
Infinite,
So,
though.
next, let's talk about Expedition. So once again, we've done another sequel to a leak from PoE 1. This one's Expedition. We'll put a map in here, and just to make it a little bit easier, we're not going to actually do the rest of the map. We're just going to do the Expedition part of it. So what Expedition is effectively there are some Kulgurans, a group of people called Kulgurans, who are trying to dig up some old burial sites from their ancestors, and the goal is try to get Verisium relics that are left over from their past. If you've played PoE 1, the mechanic is quite similar. Effectively, what you're going to see is all of these markers here on the ground that are going to tell you whereabouts things are buried, and they're going to dig these things up using explosives. So effectively, you have to choose carefully where you're going to place the explosives in order to be able to get the most amount of bonus. There are also these things called remnants here that give you both bonuses and downsides for doing them. After you blow up the remnant, all the future monsters after that point will be stronger but more rewarding. So effectively, Octavian's going to place down some of these dynamite charges in a string, and then once
I feel like this is exactly the same. I don't think much changed here.
Them and spawn things. Now he's choosing carefully which remnants he wants to use,
Except
based on his
for
build.
maybe like some of the mods here, rooting monsters, blah blah blah. I fucking hate rooting monsters.
He wouldn't want, for example, to make
yeah.
all the monsters immune to ice, because that would completely destroy him. Now there are lots of interesting things to find under the ground. There's
I wonder
like
if
chests and
there is
often
still the
caverns
haggling
things
and all
like
that.
Once you get to the end game system, the pinnacle content for this league, there's going to be bosses and so on to find and things like that. Now, the
No, but there's definitely going to be juicing because we've seen already.
Artifacts. You can see
There's 4 sockets. One you put like one of those things in,
like
and then 3 more.
They also have these chests that drop items. There's a broken circle artifact, and oh look, they're unique. Nice.
Nice.
You might as well identify it. I don't know which one that is. Let's have a look. This is just unscripted, by the way. April.
What is this? Bleeding you inflict is aggravated. And 50% reduced bleed duration on you. Increased evasion, energy shield, and dexterity. So aggravated. Aggravated basically means, for the people that don't know, if you bleed something and they would run around, the running around makes the bleeding do more damage. But aggravated means that if they're standing still, it pretends like they're running around, so it does like the max damage it can do.
of Emery.
Yeah, that's very good.
Bleeding you inflict is aggravated, which says that aggravated bleeding does 200% extra damage. Right, cool. So this is a bleed build type unique. Actually, whatever. Anyway, so once you've got these artifacts, then you can trade them with the Kalgurans.
You can't call any unique trash.
And once again, I'm not, in the interest of time, I'm not going to go into too much into this.
Because we don't know anything yet.
Probably one of the more interesting ones is using crafting with a guy called Rog.
Could be OP for a bleed leveler.
We'll do that one here just so we can have a look. So Rog effectively has a shop where
Aggravated is OP.
items. You can re-roll it using the currency as well. But once you find something that you want to kind of start with, which maybe you don't, there we go. Then what you can do is after you buy it, he'll offer to do various crafts.
Okay, so this is the same.
Before you click anything. So what this is going to do is remove all prefix modifiers from the item. So if we like the prefixes, we probably want to skip this one and not do it. So let's skip this one. We got the same one again, which is very annoying. So, okay, so I guess we just have to do it then.
Oh,
shit. Reroll suffix modifiers. Now, there's quite a lot of different modes here, but effectively you get various ability to modify the item before you go. I think this one is going to turn out to be completely crap. Remove a single modifier with the lowest modifier level. Sure, I guess you can just take it. Anyway, that was a pretty crap example, but effectively this is a crafting system that allows you to make some pretty interesting items.
Rog is pog, though.
Now, the other thing you're going to get from expeditions, other than the tablets that allow you to do more of them, is what else do we have here? Right, we'll just do the logbooks next. Okay, right, so we've got logbooks. So if you can get a logbook,
is still there, so haggling.
do a like super expedition, which is like an area that has only expedition. These logbooks have various mods and things as well, and then once you go there, then you can do an expedition that has a lot more. You get a lot more dynamite to make it a much larger string. So there's a lot more strategy in picking what type of things you want to find. Also, if you there's also things like bosses and uniques and like special underground areas and things like that to find. So there's just quite a lot of stuff hidden under the ground you want to do. So at least find an underground area maybe.
Exercise.
Yeah, is that one there? Okay, right.
Very much the same. Yeah, I know for sure. Oh, dude. I'm gonna have to start YouTubing a lot again, guys. To explain things I discover. I can't wait.
And then when you detonate it, you're going to get the string of monsters, which you can try and keep up with. Although I hear the balance of this league is a bit wrong at the moment, so he might get one shot, so we'll see. As the remnants trigger, all of the monsters are going to get harder, so they might get pretty hard by the end, even if they're easy at the start.
Love the phrasing effect. Looks so good. Fucking sick. Hell yeah, dude. I can't wait to see what the MTXs are gonna look like for Petavex, so it's gonna be so good. And I've been living up to this game's release for ever.
So rather than keeping on killing those guys, we'll just quickly show you one of the things that he found. So there was a sub area down here where called Hidden Aquifer. There's quite a lot of variety of different things like this. I'm not sure what's in this one. But yeah, as I said, some of them contain bosses. They all contain
nice monster density in here.
Be, unique just to them. So yeah, there's quite a lot of things you're going to want to find.
Oh, quickly doing some stuff. What did he do there? Right click to activate. And right click to activate. Cast and freeze. Let's see. It looks so cool, man.
So like all of the end games, completing the most difficult content in this end game is going to allow you to get points to put in the Ascendancy tree.
Dude, Monk looks insane. I mean, I keep saying I want to play Warrior, but Monk looks crazy. Ooh, the ziggurats.
Oh, you might as well show the Atlas tree as
That's
well.
what the area is called.
So
Okay.
there's an example here which makes the number of explosives to 1, so that you only get one really large explosive rather than having to do a whole string of them in your maps. Maybe just a randomly interesting one. All right, let's have a look at the next one, which is Ritual. So Ritual is one of the other in-game grinds. When you enter a map with this mechanic, you're going to find these rituals.
By the way, so the chests, strong boxes are a little bit like Ritual as well, because they will spawn some cloud shit around it, and you can't leave it, I think, and monsters spawn out of the cloud. Monsters on the strong boxes will not instantly spawn like they do now. So strong boxes are very much slowed down.
Ritualistic circles through the area. Oh, there's one right there. Great. So when you kill monsters inside them, it effectively grants the monsters as tribute. And so when you summon the ritual, all the monsters that you killed within that ritual circle will spawn again. Why does that root spider have no eyes?
Why does he have no eyes? We found the reason for the delay, guys.
Oh, it's breach as well. Okay, whatever. Let's not worry about that. Now, of course, because the league mechanics overlap, you would be able to kill breach monsters inside the circle and summon them again by the with the ritual, I believe.
Nice.
All right, so when you use the ritual, it effectively closes you off into a small area, and you have to fight all the monsters that you killed in that circle again. But the key thing is that there's it empowers them. There are multiple rituals through the area. So after each time you do this, you get a type of points called tribute that you can then spend on items. But if you're willing to risk it and make the rituals even more powerful, you can go to another ritual circle, kill more monsters inside of it, and then you'll be able to make the it'll summon both the ones from this circle and from the subsequent circle as well, making the rituals very, very tough by the time you get to the end. Oh, there's one last monster over there. All right. So then when you click on the ritual, it'll open the screen here, which allows you to spend tribute. Now, I don't think we want to spend too long on this, but effectively, this is the reward mechanic for Ritual, and the more tribute you get, the more things you get. Jesus Christ, why are there more monsters? Oh, the map is beyond. Wait, is that because it was a corrupted map? Okay, right. So because this is a corrupted map, by the way, every time you kill monsters, it's got this mechanic called Beyond, where it leaves these little orbs behind, and then demons can get summoned from them when you kill them. That's just one of the random corruption outcomes you can get due to beast corruption in a map. Anyway, right, so this is tribute. You can buy items. None of these look particularly amazing, but do you have an omen in there? No. Okay, so in that way, we've got the end of the inventory. Right, so one of the things you're going to be looking for this are omens. So omens are a high-level crafting item that you can use to make more targeted changes to your items. So let's have a look at what they do. So here's an item here where we might like the prefixes, but thinks the suffixes are crap. Normally what you might want to do is either re-roll them with a Chaos Orb or maybe remove them with an Orb of Annulment. But you can't normally choose
what item is active in your inventory? Your next Orb of Annulment?
Of Dextral Annulment.
Will remove only suffix
what that does is while
modifiers.
this item is active in your inventory, your next Orb of Annulment will remove only suffix modifiers. So if you use that, and then use an Orb of Annulment, it'll only remove suffixes, not prefixes. And if you want to remove another suffix, he's got another one there. So this is a way of kind of doing meta crafting on items that allow you to make targeted changes. And with this, you can make some pretty broken stuff. There's another one here that says, while this item is active in your inventory, your next Exalted Orb will add 2 modifiers. That just effectively is a double exalt. This kind of thing is like a pretty simple one, but there are a lot of these and they do very interesting things. So that's just a sort of interesting way of crafting. It's one of the types of player power you can get only from this league. Of course, like other in-game mechanics, there's an uber boss for this as well, and killing that boss is going to get you points in the... we don't actually have to go there, but we'll get you points for the Atlas tree for that league. So that's one of the other grinds as well.
Looks so good.
Right, next up we'll talk about Delirium.
Nice.
So in Delirium maps, your mind is going to be infected by a mysterious entity known as Tang Mizzou. You see these mirrors, and when you go through them, it kind of affects your mind and starts creating all these nightmare creatures, as well as affecting, kind of giving these strange things for other monsters as well.
Backwash.
So there's the Delirium right
God,
there.
I love the sounds.
Your life will end, and you
So as you can see, it infects your mind, and you get this like mist, mysterious.
I still want to
mist
see
that
an
goes to the area.
MTX
It both spawns new monsters
for Delirium
as well as
to change
affecting
the
existing monsters,
black
in
and white
interesting ways.
filter.
Now, the main thing you're going to be looking for in this league are called distilled
A
emotions.
little bit more color would be great.
Hopefully one drops, and we can, have we can show you what they do. But if not, we've got one in the inventory.
I'm very curious about the Delirium mods, like the Atlas passives for Delirium.
Now, if you're able to keep up with this mechanic, then you might be able to cover the entire map in it, in which case you can get some bonuses on map bosses as well.
I mean, I've always loved Delirium. I just hate how it makes the map look so black and white. In almost every league I play, I always feel like I just look at black and white.
We have Distilled Ire and Distilled Paranoia. Now, what this allows you to do is craft mods onto your amulet that grant you passives from your passive tree. So if you open up the crafting window for that, so effectively, if you put your amulet in there, then if you do a combination of 3 different distilled emotions, then it will allow you to get a bonus passive. What's it called? The notable from the passive tree. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit. It's a lot here. A bonus notable on the passive tree. So that one's quick recovery, 40% increased stun and block recovery, regenerate 10% of life over 1 second when stunned. Now, once again, this is a type of player power you only get from here, but you can also use them on maps as well.
Yeah, it's so
if
cool.
you put
Anointing
them on
maps.
then it allows you to add bonus mods to the map in addition to the mods that you can normally get.
Love it.
So it's another form of juicing that you can do for endgame as well.
Right. So anointing is like chiseling.
Delirium. Now, all of these different mechanics from the different in-game grinds kind of can be added with each other. If you open up the map, you can kind of start to add multiple mechanics overlapping with those towers. You can juice maps with, the thing like mechanic we just said. You're allocating points in the Atlas tree. Effectively, altogether, it allows you to really boost from the bottom of the Atlas to the top of the Atlas to really improve the content that you're doing to the point that we can get pretty crazy. But there is one more. In-game grind, which I'm not going to really talk too much about, but it relates to that that little object there. So effectively, this is where the Uber Pinnacle boss is, and we can travel to the entrance, but we won't be able to actually get in because we don't have to meet the requirements yet. But effectively, there are around the map various ways to get keys to be able to enter
Loading
this
screens
area.
are good.
It's kind of mysterious, and this is the hardest content in the game. So when you play the game, you'll have to try it out. But effectively, inside this area, you will don't actually go in there. Inside there, you'll be able to fight the Uber Pinnacle boss as well.
Not allowed to see it.
And for the sort of hardest challenge in the game, that is something that I think players really enjoy. So this is a sort of basic overview of how the end game works.
I love the portal.
There was quite a lot of information there. Quite a lot of sequels to leagues from PoE 1 as well. But you can sort of see, I guess, the beginnings of a system that we're going to be expanding a lot over time. As we add more of these PoE 1 league sequels, and as we add more content that leagues to PoE 2, we've effectively got a lot of space here to be able to add as much to this in-game as possible. The Atlas tree, with all its different little, what you might call, the Ascendancy kind of cluster type things for all the different content. All of these things, adding all of these things, we're going to add one every time we add a league to effectively allow you to scale this stuff.
Right.
Ascendancy kind of cluster type things for all the different content.
DNT. Do not touch? Does the DNT mean do not touch? Monsters sacrifice as ritual altars. 5% increased tribute.
All of these things, adding all of these things, we're going to add one every time we add a league to
Ways to satisfy your map have random instilled emotions applied.
Effectively allow you to scale this stuff. And so that means that there is a large...
Delirium Fox, Delirium Fog in your maps has double difficulty scaling with distance from center stun to your maps are doubled.
Capability to have a lot of content here. So that sort of shows you, I guess, as a quick rundown of the...
Wait, hold on, he showed another thing.
To have a lot of content here.
See. What's this? Imprisoned monster, your maps have 25% chance to have 3 additional essences. Nice. What else is she showing?
That sort of shows you, I guess, as a quick
Quantity of items dropped by map bosses, 25%.
rundown of the content in early access. Even though it is early access, there's a lot of content here. There's a lot to do in Endgame. There's the campaign plus the cruel version of the the first half of the campaign plus the cruel version of the campaign, and all of that is, I guess, going to be coming out on December 6th.
11.
So, how do you get access? Well, the answer is to that is that
11
we're
out of 10
releasing a bunch of
excited.
supporter packs in the relatively near future when we announce all this content. And the lowest supporter pack, the $30 one, contains a key to get access to the early access for Path of Exile 2. So if you buy one of those, you'll both get points, which you can use to spend to buy, whatever it is in the cosmetic store that you want to buy, as well as get access to PoE 2. And any of our existing supporters who have spent more than, I think it's around $500, basically the highest tier supporter pack in the past, will also get access for free as well. So we're expecting to, because effectively, it is a game the size of most retail games that come out. We would expect like a pretty significant number of players to be able to play. But there's still a lot of work for us to do. Obviously, we've got a lot more content to add.
Explain yourself.
There's by the time we're finished, I'm hoping that PoE 2 will be, as we get to release, will feel like it's as large as PoE 1 is easily. But that's all we have for you today, and hopefully you enjoyed it. So thank you very much.